Hello, and welcome to the second ever episode of this. Thank you for coming. Um, the first question, obviously, is going to be how did you get here? Because I assume no one really starts out in FFA thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to be a state officer. I don't think many people really, I think that's going to happen.
No, absolutely not. I never in a million years would I have imagined that I would have been in the position that I'm in or be the person that I am today. And my freshman year of high school, I really never even had an intention of being fully involved in FFA. I joined an ag class just thinking I could get by having an A. I never intended to do a speaking contest, or I never saw the value in being a leader at all, really. But my ag teacher, Mr. Cash, and my friend Colton kind of, because Colton joined earlier and he was kind of bought in already. He was doing Creed speaking, and I was just too cool for Creed speaking, apparently, I guess. I don't know. But they tried to get me involved. I turned opportunities down. At the end of the year, I didn't even take an officer application to become a chapter officer my sophomore year of high school. But still, my ag teacher, Mr. Cash, asked me if I would go to FFA camp. So I said, yeah, I'd go to FFA camp. I thought I'd just be doing backflips off the diving board. I didn't realize any leadership development would be involved whatsoever. But whenever I went through that leadership development at camp and the workshops, it made me realize that I needed to become the best version of myself. And so after that, I knew that I wanted a chapter officer position. I wanted to be a servant leader, and I wanted to become the best version of me. And so, luckily for me, someone on the team dropped out. I was able to submit an application, become on the chapter officer team. And since then, I've just been bought in for FFA, and I've had a lot of people pour into me, including my ag teachers, Miss Lane and Mr. Cash, that have made sure that I was always serving others and pushing myself to become the best version of myself. And that's ultimately what led me here. But what I credit the most to leading me here personally is just the Lord, God's faithfulness, and just His guidance in my life.
Right, and who knew you would be like giving speeches at KFBLA or Kentucky Young Farmers just
Yeah,
not too long after. I remember I was. This sounds very like stalkerish, but I was like, this guy's really cool. I wonder what else he's done. And I was like, oh, he did Kentucky Farm Bureau thing for.
yeah,
I was like, whoa, that's pretty cool. And I listened to it. And it was really good.
yeah. So that the Kentucky Farm Bureau Outstanding Youth Contest, the first time I did it was my sophomore year of high school. And that was shortly after, that summer where I finally got bought in for FFA. And my chapter always does. Everyone on the chapter officer team competes in that competition at the local level. And so that was the first speech that I ever gave. And after I gave that speech, it kind of made me realize, like, hey, maybe I can do this. Maybe public speaking isn't as scary as I thought it was. And kind of gave me a self-confidence boost and helped me realize that, I actually can give a speech in FFA potentially.
Yeah. And I remember the one that you most recently did. I think I means the most to me, at least, because it was about male role models in FFA and
Yeah.
through ag teachers and how like their needs, like how like young men like get more connected in and involved when there is like a good role model who of the same sex, and like
Yeah.
that is really important to me because yeah, because I don't know if I would be here talking to you if I didn't have a good role model in middle school for FFA. Like my
Yeah.
teacher, Mr. B, he's awesome. Like I don't know if I would be here doing anything in FFA if it wasn't for him, and
Yep.
just
And
being able to connect on him on like I guess a deeper level than just like teacher, because like I personally see him as like a friend. Like he's like one of the nicest people I've ever met, and some whenever I see him, like I will like have like a 20-minute conversation because he's just a really nice dude, and we've like built up that relationship.
yeah, and anybody can be a role model, right? Like
Yeah,
a female teacher can be a role model to a young male, but it's just like even scientifically, like in my prepared public speech, I expanded on it more. But studies show that young men are more likely to connect with a male teacher or more likely to be engaged. So sometimes it's just good for us to have that male role model in our life, or a female to have that female role model. While anybody can be a role model for anybody or a mentor for anybody, it's just easier for us to connect that way whenever we see those similarities. And it's just been, I know a male role model as a teacher has been a very important aspect in my life and getting me here with Mr. Cash, but Miss Lane has played a huge role in me getting here as well.
Right.
So,
and inadvertently, I don't know if you have accidentally, because you're pretty good at it, but you've become like a role model for me. Maybe you realize it or not, but just like, because you were just like, I always was like, oh, that guy's really cool. When I first met you at FFA camp, I was like, and then when I started talking to him, I was like, this guy's really cool. And so, like, when you mentioned that you had a podcast, when Michaela mentioned it, I was like, huh. Because I was already doing the interviewing thing. I was like, maybe I can turn that into something. And I did. And speaking of which, how did that come to be? Like, how did you come up with that idea for Seeds of Success?
So we were at FFA camp last summer, and we were kind of just discussing ag literacy during our chapter hour and an event we could come up for that. And me and my friend Colton, who is also a host on that podcast, he does like all the social media, pretty much all the graphic design. He's a communications expert. Let me tell you about Colton right there. But me and him were talking, and we kind of joked. We said we could start a podcast, an agricultural education podcast. And we laughed about it. But then we sat there and we thought about it, and we looked at each other again and were like, wait, we could probably actually do that. And so we kind of just started planning, and we thought a good starting point would be at the state fair. And so when we got to the state fair, we had this little microphone, and we kind of went around the state fair asking any leader we could find some advice they would give, how they started in agriculture. And there are a lot of great leaders at the state fair. Like, if you walk around a little bit, we found the Commissioner of Agriculture, Jonathan Shell, lots of longtime ag teachers, Mr. Mitchum, Ryan Corals, former ag commissioner. If you just walk around the state fair, there are a lot of great people to interview there. But it kind of just started that way. We posted some of those on social media. And after we made some connections at the state fair, we started to email people to have full episodes over Zoom where we could record it. And it kind of just carried on from there. We started to make a goal to post like 2 episodes a month and just to email as many people as possible to get them on the podcast. And it turned out amazing. And it was a great SAE project. We hope to continue it into college as well.
And that's really cool. Just because, just being like, that's an interesting idea. And I appreciate that you didn't just like sit on it. Like, something that like will always frustrate me is that when people have a great idea, or like an idea that like they're really passionate about, but they don't do anything with it because they're scared to talk to people. Which
it can be really scary sometimes to start a new idea, but sometimes you just have to throw yourself in the fire head first and learn as you go. I can tell you, mine and Colton's first episode and our first interviews, we kind of cringe looking back on them. We were not very good at holding conversations or asking questions, but we improved as time went, and it was a lot better. So you just have to start sometimes. Everybody starts somewhere.
Yeah, and the whole question of take a chance. Like, exactly. I don't know what's going to happen. And so you just do it. Like, that's kind of been my whole philosophy, and I, like, have been when I talk to, like, a bunch of other people, they have like a similar philosophy of just go for it, because if you don't get in, whatever, but if you do, great.
Yeah, the worst that can happen. Exactly. The worst that can happen is if someone says no, or if you come up short. I mean, at least you tried, and you can always keep pushing forward. But what's important is if you're passionate about it, just go for it. A big reason that me and Colton wanted to make our podcast, agricultural education as well, is because we both want to be ag teachers in the future. So it was a topic that we were very passionate about. Doing the podcast gave us a lot of insight into that career for our future, the benefits of it. And it just took diving headfirst into it, though, and we're so glad that we did, and we overcame that fear of talking to people because it's put us in a better place now.
Right, and this is so. How did it feel to kind of get elected at state fair? Because sadly, I wasn't there. I had something busy going on that day, so I couldn't see any of it. Not state fair, state convention. Pardon. How did that feel?
Oh man, I don't even know how to begin to describe it. Whenever we first came out from backstage to go to our seats before they would like announce who got the positions, I stood next to Sierra and Blake Bratcher, and they said that my hands were literally shaking like this. I never realized it. They didn't tell me this till base camp, but apparently, whenever that music started, the Chicago Bulls theme song,
Yep.
I was so anxious, and I felt like I was going to throw up probably that whole morning. But it was just a completely surreal feeling. I barely remember running up to the stage. It was just such an adrenaline-packed moment. If you don't know, I tripped whenever I got up on the stairs, so I almost completely wiped out. So that was a little bit embarrassing, but some people remembered me as the kid who tripped at state convention. So that's all right. But it it was just all the emotions. You know, you work so hard for it. Your 4 years in FFA builds up to that, and to just get to put on the blue corduroy jacket for another year. In that moment, the emotions are just overwhelming. We were all crying, I think, laughing, crying, and it just makes you reflect on how blessed you've been to get to this point. And it's it's overwhelming as well. Like you're like, I'm stepping into this new role. I'm a leader for all these members. And just a few seconds ago, I was a member who was looking up to these state officers. So it's you almost feel like an imposter in a way, but very quickly you go to training and the state staff and everybody makes sure that you have the tools you need to be a leader for the next year.
Yeah.
But it just makes you think about how blessed you are. It's overwhelming with joy and looking forward to how you can live out your why and why you became a state officer.
And just like you don't really think about it, but whenever you see the former state op, like when you're about to get, especially for you, because you got elected as president, just like seeing Trenton Page up there being, and you probably had no idea that you were gonna be in the same spot.
No, I never could have imagined in a million years that I would be elected into that position or just elected in general. Like all positions hold the same
Yeah,
exact value, and my main goal was I just wanted to get elected, and if I didn't get elected, then I was going to still live out the same why I wanted to become a state officer, just in my life apart from being a state officer. And something that my ag teacher made sure that I understood as we were training for me to interview is that you should carry all the improvement that you've gained through preparing for this process into your life afterwards as well. So even if you don't get it, the same reason why you want to be a state officer should be the same reason why you want to attend college, why you want to meet new people, or just wake up every single morning.
yeah, and just the like months of like rolling applications, interviews,
Yep.
and just all of it being like released in this single moment of just hearing your chapter and then your name. It's got to be
It,
something special.
it was very much something special, and it's all the more special because of how many people pour into you and help you out along the way, and my family that helped me out along the way. It's just like you realize it wasn't all for nothing. It never would have been all for nothing because of how much I
Yeah,
gained and improved from those people pouring into me. But like at the same time, it's like all these people were rooting you on, and you actually were able to do the thing that you were preparing to do. And it's just a great sense of gratitude, thankfulness for all those people, and just being proud of yourself and thankful.
right. And something one of my advisors said to me, Mr. Craig, he said, there are two things that you'll notice about former FFA members. They never in FFA they never didn't learn something. They always learned, and they never wish they did any. They never wish they did less events. All of them wish they wanted to do more, and I just think that's pretty awesome. That it's such, I guess, beloved by its current and former members, which is just pretty cool.
Yeah, I've never met somebody that was just so ready to get out of FFA or get out of the Blue Jacket. Everybody wants to hold on to those memories in the Blue Jacket, all that they've been able to learn. And the truth is that this Blue Jacket's been life changing for so many people, and that's why they want to hold on to it. I know that I never want to take it off, but it's been life changing for so many of us that it's helped us prepare for the future where we can hopefully go out and be the person that FFA tried to teach us to be, and hopefully change lives in our own ways as well.
Yeah, and just seeing the Blue Jacket, at least for me, is just like, even though it's not, I've always seen it, at least, that like when I put on the Blue Jacket for whatever event that may be, I always feel like a different person, or I just get like a boost of like energy and passion in whatever I'm doing, because it just like the amount of people who have worn the jacket in the past and the amount of people that will wear the jacket is just like, whoa. That I'm gonna like,
Yeah,
who know that
and
like this deep blue corduroy jacket could have so much of an impact.
yeah, and whenever I put that Blue Jacket on, I feel like the best version of myself, and I know like so many other members can say the same thing. And we were talking about it just a second ago. Whenever you have to take the Blue Jacket off, or past members, what they say about FFA, something that my ag teachers told me is that the moment that you take it off for the last time is what all your time at FFA was building up to, so that you could take everything you learned with it on and take it out into the real world. And it's not, everything you do in FFA isn't just so that you can win a contest or do good in a speech. It's so that you're set up for the purpose that drives you.
Right. And this kind of, how did it feel at FFA camp, being that this is like the first time you've ever really been seen, I guess, as like a major officer? Because when you're in regional office, there's like just a bit of like closeness or comfortability with the members, because they are either from the same chapter and they know you pretty well. So how did that feel to like interact with members, and the fact that they're staring at you and like they're watching your every move just in that way?
Camp was just overall such an amazing week. I never could have imagined how awesome it truly could have been. And something that I live for is just interactions with new people, getting to have genuine conversations with new people, and just getting to sit down with different chapters or different people every single day at lunch or at breakfast or at dinner was truly one of the best experiences ever. And I think that I can speak for all the state officers that were at that week of camp and just at camp in general. We all got to start to see ourselves living out our why through those genuine conversations, through playing volleyball with other members. We got to encourage others. We got to lift them up, and we got to see how impactful our conversations with other people can be. And so just being at camp was such an amazing experience, and it really made all of us state officers realize like why we're in this position, how we can live out our whys, and how we can truly lift others up and make ourselves less, so that others will feel more confident in themselves and feel more encouraged to be engaged in FFA, but also to just continue doing things in their life in general.
Right. And can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
My mic went out for a minute. Just I think that's just really cool, because I always want people to see officers as just regular people, and I think hanging out with them, like doing like such small things, like just playing volleyball for like 20 minutes with them, can make such an impact on their view of officers in general, because it's the just seeing association on the back of the shirt, or Bluegrass region or Sandy River region, is just like kind of like throws you back a bit.
Yeah, and like you're saying, we're just regular people. What we have on our jacket makes us no different than you. We want you guys to talk to us. We want to talk to you. We want to be friends with you. We want to make those genuine connections, and we genuinely are interested in you guys. We're here in these positions because we all had a drive to serve you guys, to get to know you, to make those connections more. And so we're just regular people. We love you guys. We want to talk to you. We want to be your friends, and we want to interact.
Right. And like you were selected for this role for a reason. Like you I haven't heard, maybe there has been in the past, but I have yet to hear a state officer who didn't want to be a state officer, or a state officer who wasn't passionate about what they were doing and talking to members and just making a better difference for all the members. And that's really cool. But something that I've always wondered is what exactly do state officers do? Because I don't know. I don't think a lot of people do.
I'm still figuring it out too. We're just a month in here, but in general terms, we're just kind of serving as a leader for all the members in the state. We are like the face of Kentucky FFA for the year. And to start out, after we get elected, we have a base camp training where they train us overall on how to interact with members, how to prioritize, handle tasks, and just all of those things. And then we set up our emails and we get ready to get emails for like chapter visits. So this year we'll have the opportunity to go to chapters across the state, giving welcome speeches or workshops for members, interacting with members. And we also plan things like the Rising Sun Conference for chapter officers to come to, where we'll have a message and we'll give workshops there. So, and then we'll plan state convention, of course, obviously as well. And so mainly just our main role is kind of just being that face for Kentucky FFA, serving members and being that student leader, but throughout the entire state and visiting those chapters in a general terms.
Right. And just like, I don't know, it's probably going to be, whenever you get to it, it's probably going to be the most fulfilling part of it, but also one of the scariest part is when you do get to state convention.
Yeah, I don't even like the first month of being a state officer has already went by too fast. I can't believe summit and camp are already over. It's going by too fast. So I know convention will be here before a blink of an eye. So I'd say all 12 of us are just going to be taking in every single moment, every single chapter visit, every workshop, every conversation with a member, and just valuing it as much as we can, because a year is a short time. It seems like a lot, but really it's over in the blink of an eye, and there'll be new members zipping up their state officer jackets before we even know it.
Yeah, and that's just, at least to me, just exciting, because I've always like been passionate about like the next generation. Like I could sit here for hours talking about how much I love the first paragraph of the FFA Creed and talk about like how cool it really is to like influence younger members through any way that I can. And just, I think I would be a bit sad because this could possibly be the last year ever that I wear the blue jacket. But I would also kind of be fulfilled because, like you said earlier, this is everything I've done in FFA leads up to me taking it off. And that's just, yeah, because after that I will hopefully become an ag teacher. At least that's the plan.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Me too.
Just because I just find it so, I just find like a passion, at least for me, to like influence other people, because like we were talking about earlier, of like having a good role model regardless of sex or gender. I think it's having a good role model can really make an impact on how someone interacts with not only just FFA but the people around them, the world in general, and like their future. And I want to be a good role model and impact for them, and I'm sure you feel very similar.
Yeah, and for us, I mean, we see the impact that ag teachers can have. They can develop us beyond the classroom with camps, trips, supervised agricultural experiences, or just, sitting in the car with them on the way to FFA camp, that long drive down. We get to have conversations with our ag teachers and experiences outside the classroom where they become such a role model in our lives for us, where they're able to have conversations with us about our future plans and just to be life-changing for us. My ag teachers were life-changing, and like you said, yours were too. And so I just want to have that same impact on members down the line, because mine saw potential in me whenever I didn't. And I know that I'll be able to do that for other students and draw out the best in them and show them opportunities that I was given that can change their entire trajectory in life and, just completely change how they see themselves and build up their self-confidence.
Right. And I think even though you didn't really come up with the workshop, but you know what I'm talking about. The workshop that you were helping with Anna, and that was just really you and her, even though she really came up with it. But I think that just was an amazing workshop that I hope you get to not steal, but like take what you've learned from it and then apply it in the workshops that you do at Rising Sun Conference, or at, like, if you get to do a conference at a chapter. And I think that you should steal it because it's good.
It is very good. And for the listeners that don't know, that workshop was all about becoming a professional. But the way that it was set, Amelia wrote it, was that to become a professional, you have to know who you are, where you're going, and how you're going to get there. And you have to get there well in life. And to do that, you have to build a firm foundation where your actions align with your intentions every single day. And so I think the message in that workshop genuinely is so great for anybody in life. Everybody needs to be built on a firm foundation. Everybody needs to reflect on if their actions are aligning with their intentions and if they're getting there to their goals well in life. And it was eye-opening for me, and I saw it be eye-opening for so many members. And a great thing about workshops throughout the year is that us state officers get to retrofit different activities and messages to a message about life that we want to share, and how we want to, and a message about leadership that we want to share to members. So it's going to be a blessing to get to share impactful messages like that throughout the state.
Right. And I guess something that I wish I could have done better, I guess, in the past, is that when I go to really good workshops, I just wish sometimes that I paid attention more. At least that's because you never really know how good it is until after. And, like, I'm going to make it a mission to, like, every single workshop I go to, I want to be as involved as possible so I can really absorb everything that it has. And has there ever been, I guess, a moment in your life where when you look back, you wish you did something different, or you wish you did this thing instead of this?
Absolutely. And I'll just kind of touch on what you're talking about in those workshops before I get into that story. But we've all been through those moments, and I said this in the workshop, where we kind of just went through the motions in a workshop. We didn't really pay attention or take out what we could have. But in those workshops, you're getting some really good life advice most of the time. You're getting some advice that if you apply, it can really open your eyes in so many ways. So it's important for members to be engaged in those workshops. And it's also important for us to make sure that the workshops actually are engaging so that people will be interested in our message. But a time in my life that I wish I would have done something differently. There's been a lot of times in my life that I wish I would have done something differently. A lot of times that I've made mistakes. Let's see here. A specific time, though, that I can kind of think about, and this one isn't necessarily FFA, but it's with my basketball team, and it was my junior year of high school, and we had this new player on the basketball team. His name was Caleb, and we were scrimmaging in practice. And as a junior, I was the point guard on the basketball team. I kind of was a leader on my team in the scrimmage, and it got down to game point. And so whoever made the next shot was going to win. And I was yelling, like, we need to run this play. But Caleb took, like, a turnaround jump shot and bricked it, and we ended up losing after that. And immediately after he did that, I kind of yelled at him, and I was like, dude, we did not need that shot. There were a million other shots you could have taken. Why did you take that one? But right after I did that and I lost my cool, I instantly just saw his shoulders drop. That hurt his self-confidence so bad. I was supposed to be a leader on that team. I was supposed to build him up, and it was just a practice. Practice is where we're allowed to make mistakes. And so after that, I instantly knew that I'd messed up. He walked to the locker room, and then my coach pulled me aside, and he was like, you can't be yelling at your teammates, especially new ones. Like, you have to go and make this right. And luckily for me, Caleb rides home with me, or used to ride home with me, and I gave him rides home. And I was kind of able to apologize for him there, just say, like, sorry for getting worked up in that moment, and I hope that, you'll stick with it. But in that moment, looking back now, it's so applicable to life. Like, whenever you are in a group setting and you're not always going to get along, you're not always going to agree with the choices that your teammates make, but it's important to realize that you're still part of a team. You're still there to lift up and encourage others no matter what, and not tear them down like I did in that moment. And I wish I could go back and change that, but it was a great learning moment as well to see how we should not act and how we should act towards our team.
Right. And I guess there's always like a bit of a time. You were saying?
You froze on me.
Oh, you froze on me too. All right. But as I was gonna say, I really appreciate it, like, when people are able to, like, look back and, like, understand what they did wrong. And I do believe that there are times and places where, like, maybe getting a bit angry and yelling is warranted, but, like, very specific cases, and it's always better to, like, work it out calmly, especially when it's a team member.
Yeah, and especially whenever it's someone that's younger than you or someone that's looking up to you as a leader. You always want to be encouraging, and you want to give grace, because we all make mistakes. There's not a time, and for basketball specifically, I'm sure I took a million stupid shots at practice or in games, and for me to yell at him was just unwarranted. It didn't make any sense because I'd made mistakes before too. And also, Caleb was looking up to me. And that goes the same way in FFA. Whenever you have these freshmen that are looking up to you that you're working with, you never want to tear them down. You always want to give them encouraging words, even when they fall short and make mistakes. And it's important to remember where you came from as well, where you started, the mistakes you've made, and how you can better yourself from those mistakes.
Yeah, because I always find, I guess, at least in my own life, like, I do the best with, like, learning what I did wrong or when I mess up when it's explained to me. But, like, it's less of, you're so bad, why did you do that? And more of, here's how you could have been better, so next time you can do a better job. And I've always found more success when I talk to others whenever they mess up, that they always remember the, like, positive reinforcement, because getting yelled at every time you mess up is not really helpful.
No, and someone comes at you with ways to improve by yelling at you, the first thing that we as humans are going to do is get defensive. We're not going to listen to their advice. We're not going to hear them out because they're being hostile towards us. So we're immediately going to be like, I have to be hostile back to protect myself. That's just human nature almost, and that's how I know I would react. But if you come to them and you share a few uplifting things first, so like, hey, this is what you're doing great, but here's a way that you can improve for, like, the team, then that is such a better conversation. That's so much more healthy, and that person is more likely to see how they can improve and actually take action upon that.
Right. Because, as we've said numerous times, FFA is very, I guess, similar to life. Because you will take everything you have learned here and take it with your life, whether or not you are very much so aware of it, but you will use the skills in just being able to be a good cooperator, be a good teammate to the people around you is a very valuable skill, especially in a job, because you might not really enjoy the people that you work with, but you still got to be nice to them because they're your coworkers and you still have to work with them.
Yep. And something small that we might not even realize as FFA members that we carry with us is just a respect for others and just being kind to others. I know that's something that, my parents taught me, of course. That's where it all started. But FFA kind of tries to reinforce that all throughout your time, whether it's serving people in the tiniest way, like opening the door, picking up someone's trash, just being an honest person. FFA puts those values in us and deeply roots them so that after we take off that blue jacket, we're doing that for other people every single day, even if we don't realize it.
Right, and just like those small little acts of kindness, like opening the door for people, or just heck, just even talking to them for a bit, can really make
Exactly.
a profound impact on people. And that's why, like, I will always tell my friends, or at least tell myself, that like always try to be nice to everyone around you, because you don't know what they could be going through. And if that if that slight bit of rudeness that you gave them makes their day worse, then why not make it a tiny bit of happiness that makes their day, even if it's a small bit, just a bit better? Because everyone has their own problems, everyone's going through something at some time, and if we can all just like have kindness and show grace to each other, I think that we, like, as a country, as people, can just get a lot more done if we just like have a bit of grace for one another.
You just hit the nail on the head. Like, that is one of the best things I've heard. That is exactly right. And like you said, you never know what anybody is going through. So I'm gonna give a shout out to Trenton Page really quick. His retiring address was about having a 5-minute conversation with somebody. You never know how far that impact can go. But maybe you run into somebody and they don't seem like they want to talk, or they might be a little bit hateful that day. You never know what's going on behind closed doors, what they have to go home to. So maybe just showing them a little bit of kindness, checking in on them, can really change their entire outlook, their entire day, and their future in general. Like, it can help them realize, like, hey, there is somebody here that cares for me. I can open up about this. And like you said, just showing that tiny little bit of kindness, it doesn't require anything from us at all. It just requires us to genuinely care about people. And the world would be so much of a better place if we all just tried to genuinely care for each other and realize that we all have, our own things going on. And if, we tackled those assumptions and we had genuine conversations with people to figure out, who they actually are.
Right, and that's along with being a good role model, is that you have you don't have to, but you most definitely should, when you are a good role model, be kind to everyone. And I think when I never really realized how much of a role model I was until in like 8th grade, because 8th and 7th grade, because that's when my sister joined FFA, and I didn't realize, oh, I convinced her to do this, and she really enjoys it, and that means something. And also that was those 2 years I was president in my middle school chapter, and just realizing I have to be the best, like, foot forward for my sister, so that she knows how to be a good FFA member. And just because, especially now, because she starts her freshman year this year, and I'm gonna volunteer her to get involved in FFA competitions, and try and get her as involved as possible. Even because I know, like, it might be scary at first, but just giving them that little push can really make a huge impact. And what was there ever a moment that you kind of realized, I'm a role model for people and I have to start acting like one?
Most definitely. And I think that this moment kind of came at the beginning of my senior year of high school. Like, I realized as a junior and being vice president that I was kind of being a role model to freshmen or sophomores, but it never really hit me until this moment. And I'll use this story in specific. There was this girl named Reagan on my chapter officer team. And Reagan's kind of a quiet person. She'll tell you that, she doesn't really talk all the time. She's more of a observer and an absorbing information. But I kind of made a point at FFA camp this last summer to kind of crack jokes at her, get her to, laugh, maybe talk a little bit, get out of her shell, to realize that she did have a home on this team, that she could be herself around this team, and that it was safe to just talk and to just be open around this team. And so I did those little things every day, asking her how her day was going, intentionally, just, to make her feel at home again. And I kind of did that throughout the summer. And at the beginning of last year, she handed me a note card. I wish I had it with me right now. But the note card said, Aiden, I'm not very good at writing things like this, but I just want to tell you thank you for your encouragement, and that you've truly inspired me just because of your kindness every single day and your smile. And at that moment, I realized that those small everyday actions I was going out of my way to do just to make Reagan feel welcome actually did have an impact. And even if someone doesn't tell you about it, those small things you do to encourage others, to lift them up, truly does have a deep-rooted impact in them. Even if they never get to express it to you, you'll never truly see the small things that you do for others truly live out in their lives. Like you might never get to see the impact that it has, but it's important to just do those small little things for people, because you never really know the huge impact it can have on them.
Right, and and kind of like small little things that might have a larger impact is just like I think Michaela, I guess, and I during FFA camp when we went up to like talk about like what this means when Michaela right before because during FFA camp for all at Kentucky every I think they do it every year, but we look at what the FFA members say during the opening ceremony, and that day's was to honor agricultural opportunities and responsibilities, and she was talking about how we need to like go for it, and I think one of the slightly pushes that people need is just like having their not officers, higher members, advisors. I've seen a lot of people talking about advisors, just pushing their members to do things, because one of my advisors, Mr. Craig, I mentioned him earlier, there was FA Creed speaking and and then the AgMech prepared speech, and he was like, "You're doing these two," and he didn't really give me a choice, and I was like, "Do I have a choice?" He said, "Nope." And so I did them, but I really enjoyed it, and I didn't really get that far, but I enjoyed it a lot. And same with one of my other advisors, Miss Margita. She kind of forced me into doing junior parliamentary procedure, and I love it. And now I'm gonna do senior parley this year, and I wouldn't have done it ever if I didn't get forced into it by her and one of the committee chairs. It was during a freshman leadership conference where we were like doing little stupid debates about like what color math is, the whole age-old debate of that, and she was like, "Wow, you're pretty good at debating. You should do this thing." And then I got more guilt tripped by everyone, all the advisors, and I was like, "Fine, I'll do it." And I loved it, and I got to meet some of the like most amazing members of my chapter through it, like all the people who were on my team. I'm so glad I did it because I got to meet them, and they're awesome, and they're gonna hopefully like stick with it. And they're all actually, all of them are either committee chairs or committee chair secretaries, and I think that's really cool how we all kind of are like staying involved because we all enjoy it, even if we might not do senior parley together. But all of us love FFA, and just being, I guess, told to do this thing really like brought us together.
Yeah, and for a lot of us, sometimes it takes that push from our ag teacher. I know it took it for me to do prepared public speaking or to be a chapter officer, but sometimes we can't see how much those things are going to benefit us, but our ag teachers do. So to any member out there who's questioning if they should be involved or do that competition, just do it. Like, do that thing. You're going to love it. It might take a lot of hard work. It might take a lot of time, but at the end of it, you're going to see how truly beneficial it was to you. So go out and do that thing.
Yeah, and like we said earlier, no FFA member leaves FFA thinking that they did less things in it. We all, there are just so many opportunities in it, like scholarships, just events, positions that like there are so many, and I just want to do them all because might as well. So like reaching out to that vet office for like an internship, reaching out to that person for an interview, filling out the officer application, filling out the application for the scholarship, or just doing like writing the prepared speech is just so awesome because it can like convince you to do more things and to be proactive because selling I think we touched on it in the first interview that I did with you is that like one of the biggest problems with FFA members is that they don't have motivation and aren't proactive enough in the opportunities that they are given, and just a kind of like bit of apathy. So like convincing your younger members, if you're in a position as a role model, convincing them to do competitions, convincing them to do that public speech. And if they're like worried, well, what if I don't go far? No one really cares how far you go. It's just as long as you're having fun and you enjoy it, who cares?
Exactly. And me myself having that how do I phrase it?
Drive.
Just not wanting to be involved. Yeah, not having that drive my freshman year. It helped me a lot whenever like my ag teacher or older members sat down and had conversations with me, and they were like, this is how I benefited from this. This is why I think you should do that. So I think it's important for us older members to have those conversations with a member who might be second guessing being involved in FFA, to just genuinely tell them about how much we've benefited, how much potential we see in them, and also just to tell them like, hey, we all start somewhere. It's not about winning. It's about just improving yourself and being a better you every single day.
Yeah, and I don't know if like any other state does FFA camps. I guess that
Yeah, most other states do have FFA camps, but Kentucky does it best.
Yeah, a bit of a bias, but I don't really care. And I just think that like, because it's just like so cool because of all the like stupid traditions that there are, of all like the stuff like the chicken dance, the stuff like the love letters, just the cannonball contest, all these like dumb little fun things that we get to do interspersed between like amazing workshops that like teach us how to be good leaders is just, I think, the best part, because there is a time and place to like have fun, and they don't stray away from it, like people like begging for them to read one more love letter.
Yeah, exactly. And it's those little fun things that make camp so memorable, and that you just really get people bought in that may not want to be there at first. Those little activities just make them realize how fun that week is going to be, and then they get to get all those valuable lessons from the workshops as well. Camp is truly just such a magical place. I mean, it's what got me bought into FFA, and throughout the week you see so many FFA members slowly get more and more bought into FFA and to start to see a future in this organization. So Kentucky FFA camp truly is such a special place.
Yeah, and just the amount of like cool stuff and something that like a bit of out of nowhere, but I think that we should push for like a lot more urban chapters, or like people in like more urban areas get a lot more involved, because that's, even though like obviously there's not going to be like huge amounts of like interest, but like there's going to be people who are interested in and didn't even realize that they like agriculture, and just interesting things like in New York, I think it's either in Syracuse or Buffalo, but there's a building that has like a massive hydroponics farm in there, and that's like really cool because like agriculture in an urban setting, and it's not gonna like replace like large scale like farming in the Midwest, obviously, because that's just, it requires so much land and work that it's just not possible in like an urban environment. But like having things like that to like be more self-sustaining, and just like having people being interested in ag in an urban setting is just really important to me, especially because I'm from an urban setting. Like I'm from Lexington, and my chapter is Locust Race, and I think they are a very, very cool chapter because of like the weird things we do and just the amount of like, because it's for those who don't know, it's an entire school dedicated to agriculture, and I wish more places had that type of interaction.
Yeah, and I think that Kentucky does a really good job in our urban ag programs at engaging students in agriculture through opportunities like hydroponics or aquaponics or the leadership aspect side of things as well. And someone to talk about this a lot with would be Tyron Harris,
Yes,
the
he
state
goes
treasurer.
to,
Yeah, because he came from Carter G. Woodson.
which is,
And
I go to Frederick Douglass High School, and Carter G. Woodson is in our hallway, is in one of our
yeah,
hallways. So I know all those people, and I remember talking to Tyron a lot in my freshman year, and he was always a really good role model and really nice guy. And I'm very glad to see him that he's a state officer.
yeah, and Tyron is a great guy. He'd be someone great to
Yeah,
talk to this about. And something else is that urban kids in urban areas don't realize it's even available.
oh, you cut out.
Corn farm or can you hear me?
Yeah,
Or like I was saying, there are a lot of SAE opportunities that students in urban settings don't realize there are in that programs. It might not be a 4,000 acre or 10,000 acre grain farm, but you could be employed somewhere. There's a lot of placement opportunities at local processing plants or whatever it might be engaged in agriculture and have a project in agriculture. There's a lot more opportunities out there in urban settings than we realize.
yeah, and just because it's also stuff like vet stuff, and like because I work at a vet clinic, and I love it. And but if you told like little old fifth grade me that like veterinarian is a part of like agriculture because of just ag literacy just not being there, I would have like never believed you.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people don't realize how many things are truly connected to ag, and that ag is like our nation's biggest employer. It employs like 10% of our population. Agriculture and food sector does. And people just don't realize how many small opportunities are out there that are available for them, no matter where they're at or what type of setting they lived in.
Yeah, and it's just there's nothing, at least to me, that can like replace ag in my life, even because I hope to work in it, to be like a part of it. And even if I don't, I'll be like, I'll still use what I've learned. I'll still have like an appreciation for it because just an appreciation for like the small farmers in the middle of nowhere who like are the backbone of like how I get to eat every day, and just like appreciating those like smaller people like our president Haley Tucker. She's very nice. She loves the dairy industry. She during FFA camp had a shirt that says "Thank your local dairy farmer" and that. And recently, I just went on vacation, and we went to a dairy farm. It was like a little agritourism place, and and it's awesome. And I was like talking to some of the people and like asking like how dairy farms work, like how much do they make, like how much milk do they produce every year, and like how are the winters, because it was in Maine, and like winters are pretty bad up there, and just like getting to like pick their brain about a bunch of these things, and then like thanking them for like providing dairy, and because they also had amazing ice cream.
Yeah, those opportunities are great. And like even on the agritourism side of things or like marketing, like you can market for a local farm, or you can be involved in their agritourism efforts and be a tour guide on a local farm, or you can do the accounting for a major farm, or you can be the farm manager like there, or you can work in the processing facility. Like there is so much that you can do in agriculture to apply your interest and your skills, even if you're not directly, milking a cow
Involved,
or
yeah.
yeah, even if you're not working a combine. Like there's so many career opportunities in agriculture.
Like you're not there. There's more than just sitting in a cherry picker all day picking apples in the orchard.
Exactly. Agriculture goes so much further than that, and it's just something that ag classes really show students so well the opportunities available for them.
Which is why we should get this is a. I think there should be a lot of like at least maybe for like a day during FFA week, like or like during Ag Appreciation Week in September or in August, whenever that is, just like having a little day to go to like elementary schools and like teach people about like teach these like third graders about agriculture because they are learning about agriculture. They're learning about how plants work and how photosynthesis works and that's just really something that they might not know yet, but if you like especially talk to them, they might find a love for it.
Yeah, that's what All In for Ag Education Week is going to be such a great week. I know this past one I read up on it a lot. All the elementary school visits that Commissioner Shell got to do, and that state officers got to do was truly impactful on that group of elementary schoolers. And it's just going to be so great to get to educate them about how agriculture plays into their everyday lives and how milk gets in their cup, food gets on their plate. It's going to be such a great week. That's very impactful.
And like encouraging them to like do research about like where this comes from, like ask questions about like who made this, how did it get here, and just like teaching them how to read a nutrition label. It's such a small thing, but like it can make a world of an impact on them.
Yeah,
to like wonder.
And everybody in America, regardless of if they live on a farm or not, needs to be an informed consumer. And to be an informed consumer, you have to be informed about agriculture. We all should know where our food comes from, who's producing it, how it's produced, to be an informed consumer. And to know those things, you have to know about agriculture. That's why agricultural education primarily is for everybody and why everybody should have a little bit of it.
So this is going to be the final question. What I've only ever like came up with like two questions in the beginning and in the end, and just see what happens in the middle. But, what has made the biggest impact on you in your life? Not just in FFA. It can be ag related. It can be basketball related. It can be anything. What has made the most impact on you as a person?
Most definitely my faith has made the biggest impact on me becoming who I am and finding a purpose in life. If it wasn't for my faith in the Lord, then I don't know where I would be at. And I'll kind of use a story to sum it up the best way I can. It's hard to put it into words exactly, but my junior year of high school, my family we're going through a lot of things. And I came to school one day and my ag teacher told me that I can use the struggles that I'm going through right now to be a blessing to others down the line. And so instantly from that moment, that kind of made me stop asking God, like, why am I going through these hard things? It made me start asking, like, what can I learn from these things to help people in the future? And my faith made me realize that we go through things so that we can become a better person and that we can be someone who is better able to be there for others in the future as well. And so my faith helped me come to that realization, and it's part of a big why I want to be a state officer is to be there for people in those moments. And it's a purpose that I'll carry with me for the rest of my life because of my faith.
Right, and just like he, like, as he did with Job, like he may like give you things that like test your faith, but like they all have a purpose in the end. You will learn what you have gone through to be a better person in the future. So like using your experiences of like horrible things to like connect with someone on a deeper level, to like be able to understand what they're going through at the time, so you can learn how can you help them most effectively. And that's really cool. That like I always want people to like not ask why is this happening to me, and more of how can I use this to make the world a better place. And even if it's just like we said earlier, having that 5-minute conversation, having that like little chat with someone, saying hi, opening the door, throwing someone's plate away after they're done eating, washing the dishes, just such small things in the grand scheme of things can have a world of a difference.
Exactly. And something else that, the Bible teaches us through the life of Jesus is to serve others fully. And that's also a purpose I carry in my life because of that. It's to just serve others in small ways, like you were talking about, having those genuine conversations, caring or having a joyful approach to every single thing and every single person to show them that you genuinely love them, that you genuinely care about them. And that's something that truly drives me, and it comes from my faith.
Yeah, just being able to be a better person by using these experiences. It's awesome. Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me, Connor.
Thank you.